Welcome to Resilient Business, where you get real talk from small business owners navigating changing times. If you like what you see here, please like, comment, and subscribe. I am very excited to welcome today to our show from Alo Health in Appleton, Wisconsin, Jen Borley. Jen has a really unique and diversified background in healthcare, a lot of it, and has now opened up a wellness practice that is pretty diverse in offering holistic and nutritional and naturopathic approaches to wellness. And so without further ado, I am super excited to have you here, Jen, and welcome to Resilient Business. How are you doing?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Really appreciate having you here. I think maybe let's just jump in and start off with, I think people would appreciate hearing kind of your story. So you sort of come from one side of the healthcare sort of industry, and now a lot of people would say you're on the other side of it even, or, take a lot of different approaches to it than maybe what you were used to in the past. So maybe take us down your journey of what led you into this particular wellness industry, if you would.
Yeah, very diverse background here. So, like you mentioned, I come from traditional medical care, right? I got my bachelor's in nursing and followed that traditional path, working in regular allopathic health fields, clinic, home care, hospital, pretty much from before birth, literally helped moms have babies, to over 100-year-old people that I have taken care of. Probably I have to think back, but about 10 years ago or more, actually, I got my master's degree in nursing, not as a nurse practitioner, but as a nurse educator, and had access to a lot of different resources. I'm kind of like a geek. I like to dive into the research. Because prior to pursuing my master's degree, I had my own health story, my own medical challenges, if you will, with just not getting answers to underlying issues. When I would see a doctor about something, indigestion, anxiety, things like that, it was always, you can take this pill or we can do this procedure, but nothing ever got at the root cause. So while I was getting my master's degree, I really started digging into those areas of study and started pursuing some more natural approaches that actually got at root causes and helping the body balance back out. I was also introduced to the Food Enzyme Institute in Madison, Wisconsin, where they offered training on how to identify sources of stress, how to identify stressed out body organs and systems, and had a very clear-cut, very process-oriented, because I got the nurse brain, this, causes this, this causes this, and ongoing stress causes symptoms. Symptoms develop into disease processes if you let them go for too long, right? And there were some answers there. I pursued, of course, my own issues to help fix that, but in the process, learned how I could also help other people on a path to wellness instead of disease management.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and the more and more people I talk to these days, a lot of people have gotten into the wellness industry in a similar way of having a personal experience, whether they were an athlete and they got injured or having, an autoimmune condition or whatever it might be. A lot of people have just happened to evolve into that or down that pathway because of their own situation. And so that's, but it's interesting to jump sort of from one side of healthcare to the other, because I like to have a conversation also around, those two terms and how they're kind of diverging, or they have diverged, or they maybe have always been divergent. And maybe more people are now recognizing that in terms of patients and clients and things like that. Would you agree with that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know what? I think it's an interesting thing because really we're on the same team, right? I don't think there are any or very few healthcare providers that go into the profession of healthcare in the traditional sense, doctors, nurses, things like that. They go into the field because they want to help people be well, but they're not taught that. They're taught how to treat disease. They specialize in disease management. And when you specialize in disease management, you're not looking to help support normal function necessarily. And it kind of boggles around in my brain. So that's what happened when I got into practice of, taking care of people. It was, here, people are put on these medications that then create side effects, but the plan was never to actually conquer the issue. It wasn't overcoming the issue. It was managing the disease to keep numbers in certain areas, right? So there wasn't resolution. There was just more adding on, and it gets frustrating. And I think it's a frustration in traditional healthcare because there's so many things from the top down telling you this is how you have to do it. It's not individualized. It's not with the intent to help support normal function. So yeah, it's very contradictory, if you will. And after so many years, that contradiction, that conflict, I couldn't continue being in that field. Knowing the things that I've come to know and overcoming the things, like you mentioned, autoimmune. I've overcome autoimmune thyroid disease, and chronic fatigue and migraines and all of those things. So it's like, if I can do that with natural ways, techniques, I can help other people overcome theirs. But it's unique. It's not, you need to do this and this and this. It's, let's find out what your body's telling us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like just a much more personalized, customized approach, which of course takes a lot more interaction, conversation, intimacy with each patient. It's not, just seeing someone for, X number of minutes and then, they're gone, but it's learning about them and learning about their situation and really going down that path with them. And it's really personalized wellness and just trying to maintain that for the rest of your life, really, which is, I'm sure, what a lot of your clients are trying to do, patients and clients are trying to do. So maybe talk about specifically your practice and some of this, certain things that you offer there that might differentiate you or that you're really, psyched about, that are working great, those types of things. And, maybe chat about that for a minute.
Yeah. So I am a digestive health professional. What does that mean, right? So I'm specifically trained and certified through the Food Enzyme Institute in Madison, Wisconsin, how to identify what organs and systems are stressed in the body. So we're trained how to do a physical exam. All organs and systems are forever connected to an area on the outside of our body. So even if you've had an organ removed, or just don't have function in a certain organ, the wiring is still there. So especially trained how to identify those organs and systems that are stressed. We also then use some technology in our office called zytotechnology, and it uses galvanic skin response, which is the same technology that a lie detector test uses to measure responses to certain biomarkers. To be honest, this technology weirded me out at first because I thought this is like, again, nurse mind. What in the world how does this work, right? But I started to trust it a lot more after it identified a mold exposure that I personally had. It identified some things that my body was responding to that I really wouldn't have guessed that it responded to. And it's not diagnostic, but it helps us ask further questions. So it still blows my mind, and it's just one piece of our puzzle, but it does help us ask some further questions on stressors and balancers. We also do some background history, signs and symptoms survey to identify trends of how somebody is feeling, what symptoms they're presenting with. We definitely want to address those things. And while I don't diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases, that's what medicine does. I help identify stress on the body and help identify how I can help your body bring things back into balance so that it can do what it was created to do, which I believe God gave us the ability to heal. And when our body is requiring more nutrients and requiring more support, we can identify what the stress is and then help your body bring in more nutrients and more effectively get rid of more waste. So an exciting thing that we brought into the clinic back in December of 2020 was pulse electromagnetic field therapy. And that has been another game changer for us, because prior to that, we didn't have a therapy per se that we did. Like chiropractors adjust structure, fantastic, need that. Physical therapists, they help with, muscle and all of structure like that as well. So pulse electromagnetic field therapy has helped us provide a therapy that can make a difference, especially in that nutritional piece of allowing more nutrients in and allowing our body to get rid of waste more efficiently and effectively. So combining our nutrition side of things with pulsed electromagnetic field therapy has been a game changer. It's magnified the results. And I know you're very familiar with PEMF, and helped me get started with that. So it's been amazing, the results. People are, coming back in saying, I can move better, I have more energy, my digestion is better, I'm sleeping better. It's just so many different things that they're saying. Now, we can't make any claims that we're fixing anything, but the proof is in our anecdotal evidence from our clients coming back and saying, this is what I am experiencing. And it's been mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I appreciate that feedback. And yes, Jen is one of my newest clients with Pulse, and it's been great so far. Really, all we're doing is pouring energy into the body. And as you said earlier, it's a good point. The body is created to heal, regenerate, and recover itself, basically. And sometimes the biggest thing lacking in that equation of actually happening as well as we want it to is just a level of energy. And so that's what we provide through that technology. Really appreciate that feedback. I'm glad it's going well. And talk a little bit about, we don't have to get into numbers, but talk a little bit about why you thought that would be a good thing to add to your practice, and how you first heard about it, that type of thing. If you would chat about that for a second.
Absolutely. So I had heard about PEMF years ago, but didn't really dig into it because, as the complementary health field is vast and there are so many different things. So I heard about it, kind of passed it off like, okay, well, that's something to think about later on. But I got introduced to Dr. Patty Barch, which I know you know her. She runs a wellness practice in Onalaska, Wisconsin, right near La Crosse, Wisconsin, where my two older boys go to college. So it is about a 3.5-hour drive from where I live to La Crosse, Wisconsin. And I don't know about you, but sitting in a car for that long makes my body hurt.
Sure.
It exhausts me. And when we dropped our boys off in September, just this past September, my hip was aching, and I had scheduled to meet with Patty and to check out her pulse PEMF, and she graciously had me come on in, and I only pulsed we tested all the different things out. Wasn't a full session by any stretch, but my hip pain went away, and it didn't come back even on the drive back to near Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was alert. I wasn't tired. I probably drove my husband a little nuts on the way back home because I was energized.
Yeah.
He even tried it out, and he said his back didn't ache like it normally did afterwards. So in a way, like, I craved I craved that therapy again. And of course, I didn't have one. So started really, really like, oh, you know, that really did wonders. And that was not even a full session. And I've had that hip pain for years, anytime I'm sitting for a long time. Um, it did not come back until, well, maybe a week or so later when I did something stupid. But it 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 didn't come back, and I felt more energy, and I thought, okay, there's more to it. So I started digging into it, of course, asked Patty tons of questions. She got me in touch with you. Started looking at how we could integrate that into Alo, because I know my clients would benefit from it. Like, oh my gosh, this client, you start thinking of all the different applications. And then, like I mentioned before, I'm super geeky, so show me evidence that it's not just made up. So there are articles from the National Institutes of Health, even the CDC, and all of the places, all the alphabet soup places. There are peer-reviewed articles about the effectiveness of this therapy with certain, disease processes, with different things, not curative, but helpful, right? So supporting the body. And I'm like, that's what we're all about, nutrients for the body. And what is PEMF? The energy nutrient. It's like, oh my gosh. So it got me so excited. Plus, I wanted to experience the therapy here as well, and share it with clients who I knew would benefit from it. So that's how we got started with it. And that's how we decided, let's bring it on here. And it's been amazing. We've had some great results. Continue to have more people coming in that aren't even clients here for the other things that we do. So it's really been a great therapy to bring on.
Wow. Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, anytime you can bring something in that can generate net new traffic through the door, folks that you may not have, had in the past, may not have been advertising or marketing efforts towards, just a different demographic, family and friend members, neighbors, and things like that. I've heard lots of different stories around that kind of growth, which is excellent. Just love to hear that all the time.
Mhm.
Um, let's shift gears back into, because I know you're a newer practice as well. And I'm sorry, I don't think I asked you how long you've had the practice open.
Great question. Actually, Alo just turned 5 years old this past year. Um, and so Alo has been in existence 5 years. I should back up a little bit. I've been involved with Alo for the past like 2.5 years. My business partner, Kristen Madalinsky, actually started it out. And she's also an RN. And I've been an official business owner a year ago, February 1st. So February 1st, 2020, I became an official business owner. And January 31st was my last official day working in corporate. I worked for an insurance company, talking to pregnant people all day on the phone, very secure job that I'd had for the past 8 years working from home. So as everybody else was starting to go back home to work because of some, thing that was going on in the world, I was venturing out and branching into this big leap of faith of being a business owner, natural health practitioner, and it's been an exciting ride so far.
Wow, what a time to become an official business owner.
Right.
In February of 2020. So, I mean, on this show, we like to talk about, navigating changing times and being resilient and that type of thing. So, you're probably one of the best candidates to answer a question like, what are some of the things you did during that really challenging time? And even up until now, because things are still somewhat unstable in a lot of ways. What are some of the things that you attribute to continued, sort of growth and sustainability in Alo?
That is a fantastic question. So, I've always looked at things as an opportunity, and really the only constant is change, right? So trusting that I'm on a path that I've been led to. I really do believe that we're all meant to do a certain thing. Sometimes we fight it, and I fought that for a long time. I've been a nurse since '98, but in some sort of medical place longer than that even. Um, but I'd say over the past year, oh gosh, flexibility is very key. Um, we were fortunate that we never were shut down. We do sublease to a chiropractor, which is a huge benefit, of course, having a chiropractor in our building, um, in our space. But we never were forced to shut down. But we pivoted a bit because we allowed people to convert in-person programs to virtual support. There are so many opportunities there. I mean, we have Zoom, we have our own management system, um, and we have the telephone. I mean, good old fashioned phone consults. We've actually even did drive up Zytos, some people who didn't want to, come on in. And, even going back to that, at the very beginning of all of this, nobody knew. Nobody knew what was going on. I mean, you had these pictures in your mind that were painted by people who were panicking. I mean, we thought this was like Ebola, where you're going to drop dead, and unfortunately, people have died from sicknesses and illnesses over the past year. But now I think the panic has subsided. A lot more people are willing to come out. Our business has actually flourished in the past year because people are more wellness oriented. They want to help their body work to the best ability, best of its ability. And they also realized when urgent cares were shut down, when their doctor's office would only see them, there were very few things people would be allowed to go to the doctor for. That was like a light bulb moment. Well, if I really don't have to go, then why did I really have to go before? There were just a lot of opportunities, right? Yep. So we've seen an increase in people's interest. People who maybe were a little more medical minded before are kind of crossing over into how do I support my body through proper nutrition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the light's really coming on for a lot of the population around how to boost immunity, how to have long-term wellness that they, have to take part in. But, in most cases, it's going to have dramatic, more long-term effects, and they'll be able to avoid, episodes potentially that they wouldn't have otherwise if they hadn't really put themselves into it. And I think a lot of that's education, and a
Yep.
lot of that is them seeing some small results and building on those. And I'm sure that you talk about that kind of thing all the time with your client, but it's interesting to get that perspective. If you had to think of one or two or three, maybe we don't have time to cover all three, but if you had to think of one or two words that come to mind when describing 2020, what would your words be?
So I might be like really dating myself here, but friends comes to mind. Ross, friends with the couch and the stairway. Pivot, you better pivot, and you better be ready to pivot because things are going to change. You just have to expect that. So that's a big word.
Mhm.
Opportunity. You have to meet people where they're at in their comfort zone, whatever that might be. But there are opportunities. Anytime you're thinking of a challenge or a barrier, you should also be willing to look at what is the opportunity here? How can I help meet the needs of those who need my help right now? Because there are tons of people who need that support. So it's an opportunity. And then I mentioned this word many times during this conversation, but change. I mean, it's a constant. So change, again, don't always think of it as a negative. It's a positive because we grow more when we change, and it's the way we can provide hope to people by supporting them where they're at.
Yeah, very good. I used to say change is the new routine, and change is a constant. Is pretty much say the same thing.
Hmm.
You have to get used to change happening pretty much in any business or any walk of life that you're in. Totally see that. How do you see then this? It sounds like you'd answer. I'm not going to answer the question for you, but how do you see the sort of the wellness industry evolving from here then, in terms of things positive for it, like you've touched on, people being more in tune and aware of participating in their own long-term wellness sort of strategy and game plan. Um, do you see any sort of speed bumps along the way or anything that concerns you as far as how the industry is evolving?
Yeah, great. So I see more interest in it. I see some people, taking advantage of those opportunities. Um, and then there are people willing to take advantage of people, for those opportunities. Um, so I see a lot of different products being maybe pushed, if you will. Um, People trying to take the food out of the equation, because kind of my philosophy is, and maybe it's not the best business philosophy, if you will, but I don't want you to have to be on all these products forever. Like, we provide enzyme support, so enzyme nutrition, enzyme support that help decrease the stress on your body, help pre-digest food, get nutrients past a stressed out digestive system. But my goal is to get you just so that you're on a digestive enzyme, not that you have to be on all these separate supplements. I don't want you to be on food replacers. We don't even have food replacers here. But I want you to use food because it's the most sustainable thing, right? If everything shut down tomorrow, you still have food. I mean, obviously, you have grocery delivery and all that stuff, but food is where we should start at. And it's sustainable. So eating your food, following, I call them the Alo fundamentals of the things that you should be doing when you eat, and all of those steps that you want to take. Um, I don't want to focus on selling a ton of product. I mean, product can make a business a lot of money, and consumables are fantastic, right? However, I want to earn and establish that trust with my clients that, hey, I'm not going to keep you on $300 to $400 worth of products. I'm not even, that's usually a little farther up, on the line, than what I suggest anyway. But I want to support normal function. I want you to eat real food that your body is going to take in and use. I'm going to support that process, and you need to make those changes. So that I see as something that some people are maybe taking advantage of. They want to take the place of somebody's normal food, by saying, oh, if you just have this product once a day, or, instead of eating a meal, drink this, or, take the place of it. I see that as a big barrier with some of the natural health people that I hear from. And it, I see a bigger place in the environment for nutritionists, for people who support natural healthy function. I think there's longevity in that, sustainability in that. But in the same respect, the market could be flooded, so you have to stand out. You have to, again, establish that trust. You have to establish that relation, because where the sweet spot is. People have to be able to relate to you, be able to ask you questions, and know that you're going to respect their time and their finances when you do that. So
Yeah, just
that's where
old
I'm at.
school trust building, and is a time honored business, you know, precept.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, definitely love it. So as we wrap up here, Jen, um, is there any last, thing you'd like to share with anyone who's kind of looking for a tidbit, and or how would people get a hold of you if they'd like to reach out? Anything you want to promote?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I specialize in supporting healthy function, and people will often say, well, okay, but I have this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, do you want to keep it? You know, take away that ownership. It's not your heartburn. It's not your fibromyalgia. It's not your, thyroid disorder. You don't want to keep it. Take away that ownership. You're going to give that away and hopefully overcome those things. And that's what I want to do. I want to partner with people and help support normal, healthy function. Does that mean you're going to be magically cured? No, it doesn't. It matters how much time you've been dealing with the issue, how much damage has been done, how willing you are to make changes, and how good I am at identifying what it is that's stressing you out. So I help provide that guidance with people in person and virtually. We have programs put together. If you want to reach out to me, of course, you can go to our website, www.alohealthllc.com. You can check us out there. You can link in there as well to schedule a free phone consult. If you're ready to get going right away, we have a signature consult where I combine that physical exam and the Zyto. And I always say your wellness plan should be as unique as your signature. So we'll start there. And that link is also on our website to schedule that. I'm also on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, have some YouTube. Definitely reach out, ask questions. And if you want to email directly to us, it's info, so INFO at alohealthllc.com.
Great, appreciate that. And I'll include some links below as well, Jen. I really appreciate you being with us today. And I think it was a great conversation. I think people will love to listen to it. If people want to check out my affiliates below, some great products and great discounts. If anyone wants any more information or to even discuss a business or a personal use of Pulse PEMF, I'm around for that anytime. Contact me at the link below or follow me on Instagram at Lahote Joe and also on Facebook. And again, Jen, I appreciate all your time today. Thanks for coming and being a guest on Resilient Business.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe. Have a great day.
You too.